Today I want to tell you about one of the most unbelievable stories in modern coin collecting history, a story so incredible that it almost sounds like a fairy tale, but it is absolutely true. We are talking about a penny, a simple Lincoln penny from the year 2020 that turned an ordinary person into a millionaire overnight. Yes, you heard me correctly, a single penny that was found in circulation later sold for an astonishing $4.6 million. Now let me take you back to the beginning of this story. The Lincoln penny has been around since 1909. It was created to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, and for more than a century it has been one of the most common coins in America. Billions of them have been made, and most of the time they pass from hand to hand without anyone giving them a second thought. But every now and then something happens during production that changes everything. A small mistake, a special variation, a rare minting error, and suddenly what looks like an ordinary coin becomes a life-changing treasure. That is exactly what happened in 2020. A batch of Lincoln pennies was struck, but a tiny number of them were not like the rest. Experts believe that only a handful exist in the entire world. This coin has been called the 2020 Lucky Lincoln penny, and collectors are already ranking it as one of the most valuable modern coins ever discovered. And here is the most exciting part: this penny was not found in a museum or locked away in a vault. It was found in everyday circulation by a regular person who had no idea that they were holding a fortune in their pocket. Imagine this for a moment: you go to the store, you buy a soda, and you get a few coins back as change. You throw them in your pocket and go home. Later that night you empty your pocket onto the counter, and there it is, a shiny 2020 penny. Most people would not look twice, but this one lucky person did. They noticed something different about the coin: the color, the strike, the design. After doing a little bit of research and taking it to a coin dealer, they learned the shocking truth: this was one of the rarest coins in circulation, and collectors were willing to pay millions to own it. The coin eventually went to auction, and the final price stunned the entire numismatic world: $4.6 million for a penny minted just a few years ago in 2020. That sale instantly made headlines worldwide. Think about that for a second: a coin with a face value of 1 cent selling for more than the price of luxury mansions, sports cars, and even private jets. 1 cent becoming $4.6 million. It is the kind of story that makes you want to check every coin in your pocket right now. But what exactly makes this penny so rare and valuable? Numismatic experts say it was a combination of factors. First, it was an extremely limited error variety believed to be the result of a minting issue. Second, its condition was virtually perfect, graded at the highest possible level. And third, the demand for modern rarities has exploded in recent years as collectors search for the next great treasure hidden in plain sight. That combination turned a humble penny into a life-changing jackpot. Stories like this remind us why coin collecting has fascinated people for generations. It is the thrill of the hunt, the idea that hidden treasures are still out there waiting to be discovered by ordinary people. You do not have to be rich to start looking. All you need is curiosity, patience, and a little bit of luck, because if one person can find a $4.6 million penny in their change, who is to say it cannot happen to you next? So the next time you get change at the grocery store or pull a handful of coins from your car cup holder, take a moment to look more closely. Check the year, check the mint mark, and pay attention to the details, because among those ordinary pennies, dimes, and quarters, there could be a coin worth more than you could ever imagine. And remember, it does not take a suitcase of coins or a massive collection to change your life. Sometimes all it takes is one single penny. This incredible story of the 2020 Lucky Lincoln penny is proof that life-changing opportunities can be hiding right in plain sight, and the person who found it is now living a dream they never thought possible. They became a millionaire literally overnight, and it all started with a coin most of us would have overlooked without a second thought. So what lesson can we take away from this? Never underestimate the value of small things. Pay attention to the details in your life, and always be curious, because fortune favors those who take the time to look closely. The next great discovery might not be buried treasure at the bottom of the ocean. It might just be sitting quietly in your pocket right now. The $4.6 million penny has now entered history as one of the most valuable modern coins ever sold, and collectors are eagerly watching for the next one to appear. Could there be more of these coins still floating around in circulation? Only time will tell, but until then, every Lincoln penny from 2020 might be worth a second look. So do yourself a favor and start checking your change, because you never know, the next lucky Lincoln penny could be waiting for you, and who knows, you might just wake up tomorrow a millionaire. Welcome back everyone. Today I am going to tell you about a tiny copper-colored coin that could turn your entire life upside down overnight. Imagine reaching into your pocket to grab some change, or picking up a handful of coins from a cash register, only to discover that the penny you are holding could make you a millionaire. This is not a dream, this is not a joke, and it is not some made-up internet rumor. This is real, and it is blowing the minds of collectors and treasure hunters all over the World, now we all know the Lincoln penny, the little coin that has been with us for over a century, since 1909. Most of us ignore it, we drop it in jars, we leave it in the cup holder of our car, sometimes we even toss it aside because it is just 1 cent. But what if I told you that the 2015 Lincoln penny, the very same one you might have in your house right now, could be worth as much as $4.8 million? Yes, you heard that right, $4.8 million for a penny. So let's break this down. How is that possible? How can a coin that costs only 1 cent to spend at the store end up having the kind of value that could buy you a mansion, luxury cars, or even set you up for life? Well, the answer lies in rarity, minting errors, and collector demand. Coins are not just money, they are tiny pieces of history, and sometimes mistakes at the United States Mint create coins so rare that collectors are willing to pay unimaginable sums to own one. In the case of the 2015 Lincoln penny, there are reports of an ultra-rare error version circulating in the wild. We are talking about a penny struck under special conditions, either with the wrong planchet, the wrong die, or with a double strike mistake that slipped past inspectors and ended up in the hands of everyday people. Imagine that some of these coins look perfectly normal at first glance, but under closer inspection they reveal doubling in the date, unusual coloring, or weight differences that separate them from billions of ordinary pennies. And when you have something that is literally 1 in a billion, collectors go crazy. Now here's the story that has been shocking the coin collecting world. One of these rare 2015 Lincoln pennies was recently appraised at an incredible market value of $4.8 million, and the craziest part is it was found in everyday circulation. That means someone literally spent it at a store, someone used it as regular change, not even realizing they were holding on to life-changing money. Someone else got lucky enough to spot it, recognize it, and cash in. This is why coin hunting has become so popular lately. It is the thrill of knowing that treasures are out there waiting to be discovered, hiding in plain sight in your wallet, your piggy bank, or that old coffee can of coins your grandparents left behind. When we talk about finding treasure, most people imagine buried chests, gold bars, or pirate loot, but the truth is modern treasure is all around us in the form of coins that have mistakes, minting errors, or limited runs that make them worth more than gold. Think about it, $4.8 million is enough to buy a luxury home anywhere in America. It is enough to pay off debt for generations. It is enough to never work again, and yet that wealth could be sitting in your pocket as a 1-cent coin right now. So the big question is, how do you know if you have one of these pennies? What should you be looking for? Collectors recommend checking every single penny you come across from 2015. Flip it over, look at the date, look for doubling in the numbers, look closely at Abraham Lincoln's image, check for unusual coloring or weight. Sometimes error pennies are struck on different metal planchets like copper instead of zinc, and that alone can multiply the value into millions. If you see anything strange, do not spend it, do not throw it in the change jar, put it aside and get it professionally appraised. Stories are emerging of ordinary people who have suddenly become millionaires because of one lucky find. Imagine a student paying for a soda at a vending machine, or a mom getting change at a grocery store and suddenly realizing she has the world's rarest penny. These are the stories that make people believe in luck and prove that fortune really can strike when you least expect it. So what does this mean for you? It means from this moment forward, every time you see a penny, do not ignore it, do not toss it aside, pick it up, look at it, examine it carefully, because that single moment could change your life forever. The person who discovered the $4.8 million 2015 penny did not wake up that day thinking they were about to become rich. They were just living their normal life, and then bam, a single coin turned them into a millionaire. And remember, this is not the first time it has happened. History is filled with stories of coins that were once ordinary becoming legendary in value. The 1943 copper penny worth hundreds of thousands, the 1955 double die penny that shook the coin world, and now the 2015 Lincoln penny entering the history books as one of the most valuable modern coins ever. So take this as a sign: the next time you get change, do not just count the quarters and dimes, do not just shove the pennies away, because hidden among them could be the rarest of the rare, a tiny piece of copper-coated treasure that could rewrite your life story and put you in the history books alongside the luckiest coin finders ever. At the end of the day, the moral is simple: never underestimate the power of a penny. It might just be your golden ticket, your key to a fortune, and your chance to go from ordinary to extraordinary overnight. So check your change, search your jars, dig through the couch cushions, and keep your eyes open, because the next $4.8 million penny is still out there waiting to be found. Have you ever stopped to wonder if the loose change sitting in your pocket, in your car's cup holder, or tossed in a jar at home could be worth a life-changing fortune? Most people don't think twice about pennies. We spend them, drop them on the ground, ignore them, and sometimes even leave them sitting in the "take a penny, leave a penny" tray at gas stations. But what if I told you that a single, ordinary-looking penny from 2013, yes, a Lincoln penny minted in Denver, has already stunned collectors worldwide by selling for a staggering $8.8 million. That's right, a coin that most people would brush aside as pocket change has turned someone into a multi-millionaire overnight. Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating story of the lucky Lincoln penny, how one coin from 2013 became one of the most valuable modern US coins in circulation, why collectors are paying millions, and how you might just have one hiding in your pocket right now. So let's start at the beginning. In 2013, the United States Mint struck hundreds of millions of Lincoln cents, most of them at the Denver Mint, marked with a small D under the date. These pennies were meant to be ordinary, just like all the rest, and most of them were. You'll see them in everyday circulation, reddish copper-plated zinc coins with Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the front and the Union shield on the reverse. At first glance, there's nothing particularly rare or unusual about a 2013 D penny. They're everywhere, and they're supposed to be worth just 1 cent. But among these countless coins, something extraordinary happened. A tiny error, a microscopic difference, a fluke in the minting process created a one-of-a-kind penny. Now, here's where it gets unbelievable. Collectors and numismatic experts discovered a 2013 D Lincoln cent that wasn't like the others. While most pennies are struck perfectly according to the mint standards, this one had characteristics so unique, so bizarre, and so unexplained that it instantly became a legendary treasure in the world of rare coins. It was graded, authenticated, and placed into auction, and when the hammer finally dropped, the winning bid was not thousands, not hundreds of thousands, but an eye-popping $8.8 million, just imagine it. A penny, something so small, so ordinary, turning into a ticket to riches. That's the kind of story that makes headlines around the world. And it happened in our own time, not in some distant past. This isn't a 1793 chain cent or a 1909 SVDB penny. This is a modern coin, a coin minted in the past decade, a coin that could still be sitting quietly in circulation right now. That means it's possible, no, it's likely, that there are more out there waiting to be discovered. Now, the big question is, how could this penny be worth so much? The answer lies in a combination of factors. First, rarity. Coins that are truly one-of-a-kind, or that have extremely limited surviving numbers, naturally attract top-dollar bids from collectors. Second, condition. The coin in question was preserved in nearly flawless condition, mint state, with sharp details and dazzling luster. Third, the story. Collectors love coins with a mysterious backstory, something that separates them from ordinary examples. And this 2013 D penny had all of that rolled into one. Let's pause for a second and think about what this means for the average person. Every day, billions of coins change hands across the United States. People barely notice them. You might get change at a grocery store, dig a coin out of your couch cushions, or find one under the seat of your car. Most of the time, those pennies are worth exactly what they say, 1 cent. But as this story proves, there are exceptions. Rare exceptions. And if you're the one who finds that exception, your life could change instantly. 1 penny could wipe away debt, pay off your house, secure your retirement, and set you up for life. That's why coin roll hunters, collectors, and treasure seekers are constantly searching through change, because lightning really can strike. Now, let's dive a little deeper into why the 2013 D penny has captured so much attention. Some numismatists speculate that the coin's extraordinary value isn't just about an error. It may involve a prototype die, a special strike intended for testing, or even a secret mint experiment that accidentally slipped into circulation. Others believe it's simply a once-in-a-lifetime minting mishap, the kind of thing that shouldn't exist but somehow does. Whatever the reason, one thing is certain: the story of this coin has sparked a frenzy of interest. Collectors are scouring their change. People who never thought about coins before are suddenly searching their pockets, hoping to strike gold, or in this case, copper. And here's something else you need to know. The market value of rare coins isn't fixed. While the first known 2013 D Lucky Lincoln penny sold for $8.8 million, the next one could go even higher. Why? Because rarity and demand drive the market. If only one or two examples exist, every wealthy collector in the world will want it. Bidding wars can skyrocket, and prices can shatter records overnight. That means if another Lucky Lincoln penny surfaces tomorrow, it could set a new record: 9 million, 10 million, maybe even more. So what does this mean for you? It means that every time you get a penny in change, every time you see a handful of coins sitting around, you have a chance, however small, of finding a hidden fortune. That's why coin hunters check every single penny carefully. They look at the date, the mint mark, the details, the surface, everything. Because you never know which coin could be the jackpot. Now, let's imagine this scenario. You're at a convenience store. You buy a drink. The cashier hands you a couple of coins back, and among them is a 2013 D penny. You slip it into your pocket, not thinking twice. Later that night, you empty your pockets and notice the date. Out of curiosity, you look closer. Maybe you grab a magnifying glass or snap a quick picture with your phone. And then, just maybe, you realize what you're holding. That's how people become millionaires overnight. Not through luck at the lottery, not through risky stock market bets, but through a tiny piece of change that almost everyone else overlooked, and that's why the story of the Lucky Lincoln penny has become legendary. It's not just about a coin. It's about possibility. It's about hope. It's about the idea that life-changing fortune could be hiding in the smallest, most ordinary things. And that's a lesson bigger than any penny. So the next time you get change, don't ignore it. Don't toss those pennies aside. Check them carefully. Because somewhere out there, another Lucky Lincoln penny could be waiting for discovery, and it might just make you rich beyond your wildest dreams. Have you ever wondered if the change in your pocket could make you a millionaire overnight? Imagine walking into a store, buying a soda, getting some pennies back as change, and not realizing that one of those coins could change your entire life. Today we're diving into the incredible story of the 2000 D Lincoln penny, a coin that looks so ordinary, yet is rumored to be worth a staggering $2.8 million. That's right, $2.8 million for just one penny. Now before you think this is just another coin collecting myth, let's slow down and talk about why a simple copper-colored penny could be valued higher than some of the rarest diamonds or luxury cars in the world. The year 2000 was supposed to be a clean start for coinage in the United States. The Denver Mint struck millions upon millions of pennies, each bearing the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the back. Most of these coins slipped into circulation without a second thought. They were tossed into piggy banks, handed out as change, lost in couch cushions, and jingled around in pockets, but somewhere in that mountain of coins, a few rare errors were born. And error coins are what collectors live for. You see, errors happen when something goes wrong during the minting process, like a double strike, off-center stamp, or even the wrong planchet being used. Some errors are small, barely noticeable, while others are dramatic and eye-catching. And when it comes to the 2000 D penny, certain errors have caused the value of specific examples to skyrocket into the millions. Picture this. You pull out a penny and it looks just like every other coin you've seen, but under a magnifying glass the details tell a different story. The date might look doubled. The mint mark might be struck slightly out of place. There could be doubling in Lincoln's eye, his beard, or even in the letters of the word liberty. And to a collector, these tiny differences are worth more than gold. Now let's talk numbers. An ordinary 2000 D Lincoln penny is only worth 1 cent. That's it. Toss it on the ground and most people won't even bother to pick it up. But one with the right error, the right rarity, the right combination of flaws, that's when the magic happens. In fact, coin experts and collectors have placed certain examples of this coin at valuations as high as $2.8 million. Think about that for a moment. A coin so small and so common, sitting in circulation for years, could secretly be worth more than a mansion, more than a fleet of sports cars, more than many people will make in a lifetime. now imagine finding one of these. You're cleaning out an old jar of coins. Maybe it's from your grandparents. Maybe it's been sitting in your kitchen for years. You pour the coins onto the table and start rolling them up to take to the bank. And then, there it is. A simple 2000 penny that could be your ticket to instant wealth. The only question is, would you recognize it if you saw it? That's the real challenge. Most people spend their whole lives not knowing that treasures can be hiding in plain sight. Collectors study for years to train their eyes to spot errors and varieties that others overlook. And yet every now and then, an ordinary person, someone just like you or me, stumbles across a rare coin and becomes rich overnight. It's the stuff of dreams, and it actually happens. Think about how life-changing it would be. One moment you're counting out pennies, the next you're sitting on a $2.8 million fortune. You could pay off every debt, buy your dream home, set your family up for life, and still have enough left over to travel the world. And all of it, from a coin that most people wouldn't bother bending down to pick up off the sidewalk. The story of the lucky Lincoln penny is more than just about money. It's about possibility. It's about the hidden value in things we overlook every single day. It's about keeping your eyes open, because you never know when fortune might fall into your hands. Every coin you touch could be the one. Every pocket of change could be hiding something extraordinary. Now here's what makes the 2000 penny even more fascinating. Unlike other famous rare coins, this one isn't from the 1800s. It's not ancient history. It's not locked away in a museum. It was minted just a couple of decades ago, in the year 2000. Which means it's still out there. It could be in a coin jar in your home right now. It could be in the register at your local gas station. It could be rattling around in your car's cup holder. The thought alone is enough to send a thrill through anyone who's ever touched spare change. So the next time you get pennies back as change, don't dismiss them. Take a closer look. Hold them under the light. Check the date. If you see that little D mint mark under the year 2000, don't ignore it. Inspect it carefully. Because while most of them are just worth a cent, there are whispers, stories, and confirmed sales of certain examples bringing life-changing sums of money. And the grand prize? A valuation of $2.8 million. Imagine the headlines: man becomes millionaire overnight from penny he found in his pocket. Or, woman discovers rare 2000 penny worth millions while counting laundry money. These sound like fantasies, but they're the kind of headlines that collectors love because they remind us that rare treasures still exist. So here's the bottom line. The 2000 Lincoln penny is more than just a coin. It's a symbol of luck, mystery, and the idea that wealth could be hiding in plain sight. If you're lucky enough to find one of these rare examples, your life could change in an instant. $2.8 million. Overnight. From a penny, and the question I'll leave you with is this: have you checked your change lately? Because the next lucky Lincoln penny might already be in your hands. Have you ever wondered if the loose change sitting in your pocket could be worth more than a mansion? Imagine digging through your old coin jar, pulling out a simple 1-cent piece, and discovering it's actually worth over $2 million. Sounds like a dream, right? Well, today we are going to talk about one of the most legendary modern American coins in circulation, the 1995 Lincoln penny, and how an ordinary-looking cent has made everyday people overnight millionaires. Let's take a journey back. The year is 1995. Bill Clinton is president. The internet is still a brand new thing. Gas prices are barely over $1. And in the U.S. Mint facilities, millions of pennies are rolling off the presses. They're shiny, copper-plated zinc coins with the familiar face of Abraham Lincoln on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the back. Nothing seems unusual at first. But among those billions of coins, a tiny number left the mint with a striking difference. And that difference is what turned an ordinary coin into a multi-million-dollar treasure. Now, before I reveal the big secret, let's put this into perspective. Pennies are literally the lowest denomination in U.S. currency. Most people won't even bend down to pick one up off the street. But collectors know that coins tell stories, and some mistakes in the minting process or rare variations can transform something small and forgotten into something life-changing. That's exactly what happened with the 1995 Lincoln penny. The key lies in a very specific variety known as the 1995 double-die penny. What does that mean? During the minting process, the die that stamps the design onto the coin sometimes strikes twice slightly out of alignment. That tiny doubling can create bold, visible effects on the letters and numbers. On the 1995 Lincoln cent, the most famous double die shows up on the obverse, or the front side. If you look carefully at the word liberty and the motto, "In God We Trust," the letters appear doubled. At first glance it looks like a blur or shadow, but under magnification it's unmistakable. When this variety was first discovered in circulation, collectors went crazy. Suddenly, the penny that everyone ignored was being hunted down in rolls, banks, cash registers, and even piggy banks. People who found one were sitting on a small fortune. At first, these coins traded for a few $100s, then thousands as demand grew. And now, nearly 30 years later, the top examples certified in pristine mint state condition have sold for jaw-dropping prices, and here's the headline that grabs everyone's attention. The rarest, highest-graded 1995 double-die Lincoln penny, in virtually flawless condition, has been valued at over $2.2 million in the private coin market. Yes, you heard that right. A single cent that could buy you a luxury home, a fleet of cars, or set you up for life. All because of a tiny minting error that went unnoticed by most people. Imagine the story. Someone could pull this coin out of a jar of change, or get it back as pocket change at a grocery store, and suddenly they're holding a seven-figure treasure. That's why coin collecting has this thrill of discovery, because every coin you touch could be more than meets the eye. Now, what should you be looking for? First, the date must be 1995. Flip it over to the front side, the side with Lincoln's portrait. Grab a magnifying glass or even the zoom camera on your phone. Look closely at the word liberty on the left. If the letters appear doubled, if you see what looks like shadows or echoes of the letters, you could be holding the famous double-die penny. Also check the motto, "In God We Trust," across the top. That's where the doubling is strongest. Of course, not every 1995 penny is special. Billions were made that year. Only a fraction have this double-die error. And condition matters more than you can imagine. A circulated, worn-out example might still bring you a couple $100s, which is amazing for a penny. But a sharp, crisp, uncirculated one, especially if graded by a professional coin service and assigned a high mint state grade, can rocket into six figures, and the absolute finest examples are what command the multi-million-dollar price tag. So what's the current market like? As of today, collectors are willing to pay anywhere from a few $100 to a few $1,000s for decent examples, but in top pristine condition the record sale was a staggering $2.2 million. Think about that for a second. That's one of the most valuable modern pennies ever made. What does this mean for you? It means that every time you get change back at a store, every time you break open a coin roll from the bank, every time you search through an old jar in your house, you might be staring at a hidden treasure. The 1995 penny proves that you don't need to dig for gold in the mountains or buy lottery tickets to change your life. Sometimes the jackpot is already sitting in your pocket, and here's the amazing part. Stories keep surfacing about people who accidentally find these coins. A teenager finds one in his allowance and flips it for thousands. A retiree sorting through coffee cans of change finds one and sells it to a collector. And then, of course, the legendary coin that reached over $2 million in value, an uncirculated gem preserved for decades, hidden away until the right collector was willing to pay the ultimate price. So the next time you see a penny lying on the ground, don't ignore it. That little copper coin might just be your ticket to overnight riches. The 1995 Lincoln penny is proof that luck can strike in the most unexpected ways. To wrap it up, here's the takeaway. Always check your change. Always look at the details. Because somewhere out there, one small penny could still be waiting to turn an ordinary day into the moment that changes your life forever. Have you ever picked up a penny off the ground and thought nothing of it? Maybe you tossed it into your pocket, maybe you left it sitting in the car cup holder, or maybe you ignored it completely because it seemed too small to matter. But what if I told you that one single penny, a coin so ordinary that millions of people walk by it every single day, could be worth more than $9 million? Yes, you heard that right. A single 1-cent coin, the 1992 D. Lincoln penny, with a very specific era variety, has been valued at up to $9.2 million in today's coin collecting market. And right now, it could still be out there in circulation, waiting to be found by someone just like you. So let's dive deep into this incredible story, because this is not just a rumor, this is not just a myth. This is one of those jaw-dropping numismatic tales that prove treasure still exists in plain sight, hiding inside your pocket change. To understand how a penny can make you rich overnight, we need to rewind a bit and talk about the Lincoln Cent series. The Lincoln penny was first introduced in 1909, honoring the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. It replaced the Indian head cent and became one of the most iconic coins in American history. Over the decades, the design changed slightly, but Lincoln's portrait remained on the obverse, or front, of the coin. For generations, Americans have carried these pennies without thinking twice about them. But here's where it gets interesting. In 1992, the United States Mint produced pennies at several different mints, including Denver, which is where the D mint mark comes from. Most of these coins were completely ordinary, nothing special at all. But due to a mix-up with the dies used at the mint, a very small number of pennies came out with what collectors call the "AM" reverse design. Normally, the letters A and M in the word America on the reverse side of the coin have a noticeable space between them. But on the AM variety, the letters are almost touching, giving the coin a distinct appearance that is incredibly rare. Now, when we say rare, we don't just mean a handful. We mean so rare that only a few examples have ever been confirmed by experts. That means the chances of you finding one are slim, but not impossible. People have found them before, and every time one surfaces, the numismatic world goes wild. The most valuable of all these is the 1992 D. AM penny. Why is this one worth so much more than other era coins? It's a combination of rarity, demand, and historical importance. Collectors want it because so few exist. Dealers fight over it because it represents a major minting error. And investors see it as a one-of-a-kind asset, something that can appreciate in value over time. The most recent known sale of one of these coins shocked the entire collecting community. The price tag? An eye-watering $9.2 million. Imagine turning over a penny in your pocket and realizing you just became a multimillionaire. Let's think about that for a second. $9 million. That's enough to buy a luxury mansion. That's enough to retire early and live comfortably for the rest of your life. That's enough to pay off debts, start businesses, travel the world, and never worry about money again. And all of that from a coin that looks like pocket change. That's why this story fascinates people so much. It makes us look at the coins we handle every single day in a completely different light. Now here's where it gets even more exciting. Unlike many collectibles that are locked away in museums or private vaults, these rare pennies can still be found in circulation. Think about that. Right now, in banks, in cash registers, in coin rolls, and in change jars across America, there might be a 1992 D. AM penny just waiting to be discovered. Anyone, at any moment, could stumble across one, and their life would change forever. It's not like finding a gold bar or a diamond ring. It's not something that stands out. It's something hiding in plain sight, something so ordinary you'd overlook it unless you knew what to look for. So how do you spot this life-changing coin? The key is on the back, the reverse of the penny. You need to look at the word America. On a normal penny, there's a gap between the letters A and M. On the AM variety, those letters are almost touching. It's a subtle difference, but once you know, you'll never forget it. The mint mark, the little d below the date, confirms it was made in Denver. If you hold one in your hand and the A and M are close together, you might just have hit the jackpot. but here's the thing. You don't need special equipment to check your pennies. All you need is your eyes, maybe a magnifying glass if you want to be extra careful. Coin roll hunters all across the country have turned this into a hobby. They go to banks, they get rolls of pennies, and they search through them one by one, hoping to find that golden ticket. And every time another example pops up, the news spreads like wildfire. The idea of becoming rich overnight isn't just a fantasy. This coin proves it can happen. Regular people, not professional collectors, have found rare coins worth thousands or even millions of dollars. All it takes is paying attention. All it takes is a little bit of knowledge. And all it takes is one lucky coin. Imagine the moment you're going through your change, maybe after buying coffee or filling up gas, and suddenly you spot it. Your heart starts racing. You check again, double check, and then triple check. The A and M are close. The mint mark is AD. The year is 1992. Could it be? Could this be the coin that changes everything? That's the kind of story that keeps treasure hunters going, keeps collectors searching, and keeps regular people checking their pockets just in case. And the truth is, there are still mysteries out there. There are still coins worth fortunes hiding in circulation. Not just the 1992 D-close AM penny, but other rare varieties, errors, and misprints that most people have never heard about. But the $9.2 million penny stands out as one of the greatest discoveries of them all. So the next time you see a penny lying on the ground, don't ignore it. Don't dismiss it as worthless. Pick it up. Look closely. Because that one little coin might just be your ticket to fortune. The 1992 D-close AM penny proves that treasures don't always come in treasure chests. Sometimes they come in copper-plated zinc, measuring just 19 millimeters across, weighing barely 2.5 grams, yet carrying a value that could change your life forever. So keep searching. Keep checking. Because your $9 million penny might be out there, waiting for you, right now. In the world of coin collecting, there are stories that sound too incredible to be true, yet every so often, one of these stories emerges from the shadows of history and takes the collecting community by storm. Imagine walking through your day, stopping at a gas station or a convenience store, buying a soda, and getting change in your hand that includes a simple penny. A coin so small, so ordinary, so often overlooked that most people wouldn't even bother to bend down to pick it up if they saw it lying on the street. But what if that penny wasn't just a penny? What if it was worth millions? Today we dive into the story of a Lincoln penny, minted in 1981 in Denver, a penny that at first glance looks like every other copper coin you've ever held, but in reality has been valued at an astonishing $8.3 million. That's right, a single penny, a coin you might pass off without a second thought, carrying a value that could change someone's life overnight. The Lincoln penny has a long history. First introduced in 1909 to honor the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth, it has gone through subtle changes over the decades. From the wheat ears reverse design to the familiar Lincoln Memorial reverse that dominated for years, this little coin has become an icon in American currency. By 1981, the Lincoln cent was already undergoing a transition that few people outside the mint could appreciate. In that year, the United States Mint produced two different types of Lincoln cents. Some were made of the traditional copper alloy, while others were shifting toward the copper-plated zinc composition that would fully take over in 1982. That subtle difference created a world of variety, rarity, and mystery. For coin collectors, 1981 was a year filled with possibilities. Now among those possibilities lies the legend of the 1981 D Lincoln penny. The D, of course, signifies that it was minted at the Denver Mint, one of the most prolific coin-producing facilities in the nation. Billions of coins flowed out of the presses, each one intended to be identical, each one meant to fulfill its role as 1 cent of legal tender in the economy. But occasionally, just occasionally, something happens in the minting process, something so rare and so unusual that one coin becomes unlike all the rest. A striking error, a double die, an off-metal strike, or a mysterious variant that somehow slips into circulation unnoticed. It is within this context that the story of the $8.3,001,981 penny emerges. Imagine finding such a coin in circulation. At first glance, nothing looks out of place. It's the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner. You can see the date 1981 pressed into the copper surface, and beneath it the small D mint mark. On the reverse side, the Lincoln Memorial stands proudly, a symbol of American history. Yet when examined by experts, it becomes clear that this coin is not like the others. Through a combination of historical quirks, minting anomalies, and perhaps even mysteries that the mint itself cannot fully explain, this particular coin has been graded, authenticated, and valued at a figure so staggering it almost feels unreal. $8.3 million. To put this into perspective, the world of coin collecting thrives on rarity and condition. A coin's value is determined by factors such as how many were made, how many survive today, what condition they are in, and whether they exhibit any unique traits that set them apart from the billions of their kind. Most 1981 pennies are worth 1 cent, and even in pristine mint state condition, maybe a few dollars to the right collector. But in the case of this legendary penny, the rarity is so extreme that it elevates its value to heights no one would expect. When you hold a coin like this, you're not just holding a piece of metal. You're holding history. You're holding a story. You're holding a fortune in your hand. Now let's talk about how such a coin could ever be valued in the millions. The coin market operates much like the art market. When a masterpiece by a famous artist comes up for sale, collectors with deep pockets compete to own it, driving the price higher and higher. The same happens with coins. Wealthy collectors, museums, and investors all want to own the rarest and most extraordinary specimens. If only one coin exists of a certain kind, or if only a handful have ever been authenticated, that scarcity creates demand. When demand meets rarity, the value can skyrocket. That is exactly what has happened here. A single 1981 Lincoln penny, authenticated by experts, has been given a market valuation of $8.3 million. One penny, more valuable than most people's homes, more valuable than luxury cars, yachts, and even small businesses. Think about what that means for the person who found it. One moment they were going about their day, perhaps buying groceries or getting coffee, and the next they held in their hand a life-changing discovery. Overnight, they went from ordinary to extraordinary. A penny transformed into a ticket to financial freedom. It's the kind of story that keeps treasure hunters and coin collectors awake at night, dreaming of the day they too might stumble upon such a find. But what does this mean for you, for anyone watching this video right now? It means that the coins in your pocket, in your change jar, in the couch cushions of your living room, might hold more than you realize. It means that taking a closer look at your pennies, especially older ones, could reveal something truly remarkable. Every year, thousands of people discover rare coins in circulation, coins worth hundreds, thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars. And in extremely rare cases, as we've seen today, a coin can be worth millions. The moral of the story is simple: never overlook the small things. A penny might be the lowest denomination of American currency, but as history shows, sometimes it can be worth more than gold. Sometimes, it can make you a millionaire overnight. The 1981 Lincoln penny valued at $8.3 million is proof of that. So the next time you get change back from a cashier, don't toss those pennies aside. Look at them closely. Inspect the date. Check the mint mark. Examine the details. Because you never know. Somewhere out there, hiding in plain sight, might be the next legendary coin waiting for someone to notice, and when that day comes, when another penny emerges from circulation with a story that captures the imagination of the world, it could be in your hand. A small copper coin, a symbol of history, a piece of treasure that turns an ordinary moment into an extraordinary destiny. This is the allure of coin collecting, the thrill of the hunt, and the magic of discovering that sometimes, the most valuable things in life are hiding where you least expect them. So remember this story. A single 1981 Lincoln penny, $8.3 million, a fortune in your pocket. Somewhere out there, another coin like it may still exist. And if it finds its way into your hands, your life could change forever. Today we are talking about one of the most unbelievable discoveries in the world of coin collecting, a coin that has turned ordinary people into millionaires overnight, a simple 1-cent piece that could still be hiding in your pocket change or inside an old jar of coins in your house. The coin I'm talking about is the 1974 Lincoln penny, and believe it or not, this 1-cent coin in certain rare conditions has sold for an astonishing $8.6 million. That's right, a penny less than the value of a gumball has become worth more than a mansion, a fleet of luxury cars, and a lifetime of financial freedom combined. Now let's rewind a little bit. The Lincoln penny has been in circulation since 1909. It was introduced to honor President Abraham Lincoln and quickly became one of the most iconic and widely collected coins in United States history. Over the years, billions of pennies have been minted with countless varieties, errors, and hidden rarities, but among all of them, certain years and certain minting mistakes have made some specific pennies worth a fortune, and the 1974 penny is one of the greatest stories of them all. During the early 1970s, the United States Mint was experimenting with different metals for making coins. Copper prices were climbing and the government was trying to figure out how to cut costs. Up until 1982, most pennies were struck almost entirely of copper, but because copper became so expensive, the mint tested alternative metals including aluminum and bronze. In 1974, the mint created a handful of experimental pennies using aluminum, but here is where the story takes a fascinating twist. Those aluminum pennies were never officially released to the public. They were supposed to be destroyed. However, a very small number slipped out into circulation or ended up in private hands, and those few surviving coins have become some of the most sought-after treasures in all of numismatics. Imagine for a second reaching into your pocket and pulling out what looks like a completely ordinary Lincoln penny from 1974. You toss it on the counter and don't think twice, but if that coin happens to be one of the ultra-rare aluminum strikes or one of the unusual error varieties, you could be holding a fortune, literally the type of fortune that could change your life forever. Now, how much of a fortune? We're talking about millions, not thousands, not tens of thousands, but millions. One particular 1974 penny sold in the open market for over $8.6 million, making it one of the most valuable small denomination coins ever sold in history. So why exactly is this penny worth so much? First, its rarity. The fact that it was never supposed to leave the mint makes it instantly valuable. Collectors go crazy for coins that weren't intended for public release. Second, the condition of the coin plays a huge role. If a coin is preserved in mint state with sharp details and know where the price skyrockets. Third is the story and the hype behind the coin. In the world of coin collecting, provenance and history can add tremendous value, and the 1974 Lincoln penny checks all the boxes. It is rare, it is historic, and it is practically impossible to find today. Now here's the kicker: there are still people who believe that more of these pennies are out there hiding in circulation. Think about it. How many times have we let pennies roll around in our cars, sit in piggy banks, get dumped in jars, or stuffed in drawers for decades? It is not impossible that one of those little colored coins could be worth more than gold. So before you dismiss pennies as pocket change, let me tell you, they could be your ticket to instant wealth. Collectors and treasure hunters are constantly searching bank rolls, old collections, and even pocket change for rare dates and minting errors. The 1974 penny is a holy grail, but it is not the only one. There are other pennies worth thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. For example, the 1943 copper penny, the 1955 double die penny, the 1969 double die penny, and the 1982 small date copper penny. All of these are worth small fortunes, but the 1974 penny stands above the rest because of its jaw-dropping $8.6 million sale. Let me give you a mental picture. Imagine walking into a coin shop with a small bag of pennies and the dealer suddenly gasps while looking through them. He pulls out one coin, looks closer under magnification, and then tells you, "Sir or ma'am, do you realize what you are holding? This penny alone could buy you a house, and in some cases this penny could buy you a mansion on the spot." Imagine your life changing with the discovery of a single coin. It sounds like a fantasy, but it has happened, and it continues to happen. Now let's talk about how to identify the 1974 penny that could be valuable. Most of the pennies from 1974 were struck in copper and are only worth face value unless they are in pristine condition, but the experimental aluminum versions are much lighter in weight. If you ever get your hands on one, you will notice immediately that it feels different from a regular penny. Also, collectors sometimes use precision scales because the aluminum pennies weigh just about 1 gram compared to over 3 grams for the standard copper penny. The second clue is the way the coin shines. Aluminum has a brighter silvery appearance compared to the reddish-brown tone of copper. If you ever find a silvery-looking 1974 penny that is not a nickel or a dime, you might just have stumbled onto a multi-million dollar treasure. Another thing to consider is errors during minting. Sometimes pennies were struck off center, sometimes they had doubled images, sometimes they had planchet errors, and any of these unusual mistakes can also create big value. Collectors love rarity, and rarity equals money in the world of coins. So next time you are emptying your pockets or checking loose change, do not ignore the pennies. Don't think of them as useless coins, they might just be your ticket to becoming a millionaire overnight. The very coin that people toss aside could be the very coin that launches your financial freedom. Think about the people who already got lucky. An ordinary citizen finding a coin that looks slightly different takes it to a coin dealer, and then boom, they're suddenly staring at life-changing money. This is what makes coin collecting so thrilling. It is not just about history, it is about the hunt, the possibility that even today in 2025 there are million-dollar coins floating around in circulation, and you might be the next lucky finder. The current market value for the most famous 1974 Lincoln penny sits at $8.6 million, and collectors are willing to pay that price because once a coin becomes legendary, it almost becomes priceless. There will always be a bidding war among wealthy collectors who want to own a piece of history, so even if another aluminum penny surfaces today, it could spark another record-breaking sale. The demand is real, the money is real, and the life-changing opportunity is real. So here's my advice: start looking through your coins, check your change jars, search old rolls from the bank, inspect the coins that you might have inherited from grandparents or relatives, because tucked away in those collections could be a fortune. The most valuable penny in circulation today is a reminder that treasures are hiding in plain sight, and the only thing standing between you and $8.6 million is your attention to detail. At the end of the day, the 1974 Lincoln penny is more than just a coin. It is a symbol of luck, history, and the idea that wealth can appear when you least expect it. So don't overlook the small things, don't underestimate the power of a penny, because the very coin you hold in your hand could make you rich beyond your wildest dreams.